All right, so I've talked a lot about Manes Buzelis. I have not talked about some of the other prospects, and we're going to start off with Rob Dillingham, and I'll just give you my overall thoughts on his game and how he would fit with the San Antonio Spurs. Yes, I am going to focus in on him fitting with the San Antonio Spurs.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so before we get started, guys, please subscribe, like this video, comment. It means the world to me, and it helps out the algorithm tremendously, okay? You can literally just put anything in the... Oh, my goodness. You can put anything in the comments, okay? Just put cat jump. I don't know. But put whatever you want. What the heck was that? Why did you do that? Bad kitty. Just don't touch the keyboard, okay? Like, you can sit there. Just don't... I said don't touch the keyboard. Okay, I got to pet it this whole time. All right, so Rob Dillingham, we did look at a video in which he was talking about the Spurs, or they asked him directly, like, would you want to play for the Spurs, or what would that be like if you were to play for the Spurs? And he was pretty open in saying, yeah, you know, I would love to play for the Spurs. People talked a lot of stuff about Victor, saying that he wouldn't adjust, and he's been doing great. And then he went in and he talked a little bit about some of his influences, in which it was Steve Nash and Tony Parker. And that's actually going to play a little part of how I view Rob Dillingham, okay? So just allow me to go on a little tangent here. So as far as his offensive game, I think that he is very creative, obviously, okay? He's a very creative scorer. He can score off the ball, on the ball. That's one thing that a lot of Spurs fans have complained about when it comes to the potential of getting Trae Young. A lot of people have said, well, off the ball, he's not as great. Like, how would that work? You know, we would need the ball in his hands. And I can't really argue with that too much. But Rob Dillingham, you know, he would fix that, you know, issue. Or if you found that as a problem and you need a replacement for that potential point guard, Rob Dillingham is definitely a good off-ball player. Offensively, is he better than Trae Young? No, obviously. Okay, super young player. I don't know if his ceiling will be close to how good Trae Young is offensively, just the amount of gravity that Trae Young can bring. But he does have a lot of creativity, shot creation, off the ball and on the ball, and he's very engaged on the offensive end. One thing that does worry me a little bit, although he's really good when it comes to the pick and roll and finding those really simple reads, one thing that's a little bit of an issue is that I don't think that his passing versatility is top notch. I just don't. He can find the open guy. He can make very simple reads, don't get me wrong, but that worries me a little bit. But with that interview and him saying that I looked up to guys like Steve Nash and I looked up to guys like Tony Parker, it could very well just be one of those situations where he goes to San Antonio and he fits in perfectly, and he's ready to take on that type of role and learn and get even better at that point. He's not a bad passer, and that's not what I'm saying. That's not like, it's not like he's a bad passer. It's just that he could definitely improve in that area, and that's not his strong suit. His strong suit is shot creation, three-point shooting, and just overall versatility on that end of the spectrum. Also, I think that his finishing is something that he could work on quite a bit. But the funny thing about all of this, I think that by him looking up to Steve Nash, and if he were with somebody like Wembanyama, a lot of this would look so much better. Like, he doesn't, especially with Wemby, you're not going to need like very complex reads. And I think day one, he would be the best passer the San Antonio Spurs have. So that says a lot on how I view him and how much I view, or how well I view Victor Wembanyama. So offensively, that's how I view him, right? So just conclusion to his offense, I would say that he's a great shot creator. He can shoot the three ball. A lot of versatility there. Good, I mean, really good pick and roll player. But unfortunately, I think that he lacks finishing ability, and his passing versatility is something he would have to work on quite a bit. Now, defense. Now, this is where it gets a little crazy, okay? Because if I'm talking about any team other than the San Antonio Spurs, I would probably be a little bit more harsh, okay? But things have just really changed after getting Wemby. So his defense is not good. And it's not good. He's not a good on-ball defender at all. He doesn't fight around screens. Sometimes he just straight up gives up and he just allows his team to just kind of make up for it. I don't know if it comes down to like exhaustion, due to everything he's doing on the offensive end, and that's the problem, or it's literally just lack of effort. But a lot of times it seemed like it's just lack of effort defensively. And, you know, that would be a bigger issue for me if it was any other year, you know, than previously. But because you have Wemby, you make up for so much. And I've been very adamant in saying that you can afford to have a guy, especially if they bring enough gravity, enough offensive scoring, and enough talent on the offensive end. You can afford to have a guy on your team that's not the best defensively. And when you have somebody that like Wemby, who's a freak of nature, who can guard all around the court, at that point, I'm not necessarily that worried about it. The only thing that I'll be worried about is the lack of effort, but it's not like he has lack of effort in other aspects of the game. So I think that he could very well be under Pop, and Pop will make sure, hey, you're at least trying. He's gonna bring the best possible defender out of you that he can. I mean, just like Bryn Forbes, right? Bryn Forbes, screw Bryn Forbes, by the way. But Bryn Forbes, as bad as a defender he was, he wouldn't have been a better defender anywhere else. Like, he was in the right place often. He played very hard, and Popovich brought out the best defender in him. I mean, he wasn't a bad defender when it was all said and done. It was just the fact that he was just way too small. He got taken advantage of in that way. But overall, you know, he ended up bringing the best out of Bryn, and he brings out the best out of everybody. So and also I think that the people around him is really going to help as well, right? Like, you're going to have Sohan, who's a really good defender, helping you, and he's pretty nasty. So the San Antonio Spurs just overall pride themselves on trying to be good defenders. And, you know, I know that that will be a worry, especially with how the team is constructed as it stands right now, where you don't have good defenders. Like, okay, we're bringing in another person that's not a good defender, but he is good enough offensively that would make up for it. And also defensively, I think that the Spurs and their system and everything is going to bring out the best out of them. But like I said, you can afford to have a guy that's not the best defender in the world, right? That's the same thing with, you know, Trae Young. If you potentially had Trae Young, like, yeah, he's not the best defender in the world, but if your team has defenders on it, you can hide them just a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the pros and cons. So I always bring this up, but I never look at it until we just go over it. So those were my thoughts, and let's see what people think. Okay, this is something I did not think about. All right, so a few attributes here they have. So athleticism 7. Yeah. I mean, he got a little bit of bounce, and like I said, I think as time goes on and he comes more into his body and gets more of that man, you know, NBA strength and conditioning, he'll be even better. So he got a little bit of hops and everything, but yeah, sure. Size 7, 6'3". I can't expect more. Being a point guard. Defense 7. That's pretty high in my opinion. You know, you guys can tell me in the comments if you think that I'm out of pocket for that. I don't think he's that good of a defender at all. But you know, 7 just seems pretty high. Like, to me, that's like, oh, he's average. I don't think so. I think he has lots of lack of effort there. Strength 7, fine. Quickness, yes, I would agree with that. Leadership, I suppose that's not something I can really attest to. Let's see. Jump shot 9, yes, I agree with that. NBA ready 7, okay. Ball handling 9, I agree with that. Potential 8. Yeah, I mean, as far as potential, like I said, I don't think that he'll end up being like a superstar talent. But in today's NBA, you don't necessarily need that, right? Like, you don't have to have a super team. I do think that he could be like a potential, you know, all-star or something like that. But that's the ceiling for me, like an all-star. Passing 8, okay. Intangibles 8, sure. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Oh, this isn't the website we normally go to, but do we want to go off of this one? Because this isn't the one. I guess I pulled up the wrong one. It's fine. Let's see. Strengths. I won't go through all this, but shifty, bucket getter that scores in bunches. Yeah, we know that. Let's see. He's definitely a microwave type player. Weaknesses, slight frame limits his ability on defense to some degree long term. He showed the ability to put weight and muscle on this past year, but his frame will likely always, sorry, I'm trying to read with my cat's tail on the screen. Where was I? Needs to have the ball in his hands to be effective. Can't force things at times. Can force things at times. I don't know if he necessarily has to have the ball in his hands to be effective. From what I've seen off ball, he's actually pretty decent. So I kind of disagree with that as far as a weakness. I think that he is good off ball. Maybe it just came down to Kentucky using him in that way, but when he was off ball, he was pretty doggone good. So if you were worried about that, I don't think that's a problem. But let's see some other stuff. 6'2" combo guard, 6'3" actually, apparently. Very quick, natural shot creator, and has an innate scoring arsenal that isn't taught. Effortless and high-level shot maker with deep range. That's where another thing too. I meant to mention this. So even though his passing ability, in my opinion, isn't that great, and it is definitely something that he can work on, I think his scoring is really going to help him quite a bit. That gravity that he brings is really going to help, and having Victor Wembanyama is going to make it way easier for him as well. So. And it would be a great opportunity to work on his finishing as well if he was around Vic. Let's see. Weaknesses: doesn't have great size and length, slight frame, and lacks strength. He lacks physicality, hinders his projection as a defender at the next levels. Man, they keep saying this, but I just feel like defensively it's kind of a lack of effort. It's just like I've seen him just give up on plays, but I don't know. He get hit with a screen, he just gives up. Like, it's not like he's fighting around the screen or anything. He's just kind of standing there. But hey, maybe maybe it's a mixture of everything, right? Mental and physical. But Papa really definitely get the physical part on the go. Okay, so we won't read through all this, but it's kind of the same stuff. Some things I disagree with, some things I agree with. But you guys let me know what you think. Okay, there's a lot of you that's been talking about Rob Dillingham forever. So tell me if this is the guy that you want. If there's someone else you would rather have, please let me know. I've been very adamant about this. Like, while I really like this player, as we go through, Modest Buzelis is at my top of the list, but hey, maybe it's another prospect that we go through and I start to change my mind on it. But anyways, talk to you guys later. Until next time, bye. This is really uncomfortable, by the way, trying to like keep my cat from jumping. I've been petting her this whole time. Bye.